Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
Listen, all you New Yorkers.
Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Well, on Tuesday, we have the State of the Union address, and with us today is Dr. Mehmet Oz. He's going to give us a little bit of a preview. Mehmet, we know each other for 100 years. What the heck is going on? What is the president going to say?
The president's going to appropriately celebrate a spectacular first year where we achieved so many of the promises that he made. And this is important for folks on both sides of the aisle to acknowledge. We can quibble about the tactics that are used, but the success is unmistakable. It's true for the economy, but I'm going to focus on health care. And in the State of the Union, it's important to make sure that affordability, which is a top-tier issue, is respected, and especially Americans are concerned about affordability of health care. Why? Because if your eggs are more expensive, you don't like it. If your housing is more expensive, you get upset because obviously that's one of the core ways you assess your success in life. But if you can't pay your medical bills, you go bankrupt, you forego care therapy, it hurts you at a very different level. So Americans are concerned about hospital prices, insurance prices, drug prices. So we've done a lot to address these. One of the most important desires of the American people is to make sure there is transparency. They want to shine a light on where the actual money they're spending is going. So we are demanding in the great health care bill, a plan that is in front of Congress now, that insurance companies in plain English explain how much of the money that you give to them is going towards your therapy or your care versus profits. We want to make sure that there's a very clear plain English expression by hospitals of what they're actually charging, so there are no surprise bills. And that's something we've achieved already, dramatically cutting down those kinds of surprise bills that have hurt so many people and driven them towards bankruptcy. We've got this incredibly successful most favored nation drug pricing that's allowed us to dramatically reduce the price that we pay for medications in this country, so they're more equal to what other people in other countries pay. No longer will we tolerate 3 times more. All of it, by the way, available now on TrumpRx.gov. That has been incredibly successful. And we're going after things like fraud, waste, and abuse, including, by the way, in the beautiful city of New York and the surrounding New York State, where we know that there are a lot of people who are providing services that we don't think are legitimate, that are costing the taxpayers a lot of money. And that ends up not only hurting taxpayers, but hurts the actual people who are vulnerable, members of the population who need these services. And the dishonesty around some of these programs, in Medicaid in particular, cost a lot of money that strips the guts out of the affordability of these systems. So all of these are things that we're aggressively going at. And, of course, much of this, very transparently, is fixing problems that were caused in the Biden administration.
Understood. And in other fields, I mean, you started to talk about the financial thing. I think financially the country is doing better than it's ever done before. And I mean, I don't see anything between here and the end of the year that will be a great year for all Americans.
I think more and more of the American people are going to be able to feel the improved affordability. Listen, inflation skyrocketed during COVID, and there are many reasons for that. And we can go back and argue about mistakes that were made. I think most people would agree that there was too much money thrown at the problems that were perceived and feared that didn't actually ever come to bear. But because so much money was thrown at these issues, it caused inflation. And so the president has wrestled with that problem very successfully. The numbers all show it, but the people have to feel it. And so if you perceive that life is so expensive, or if you don't think your wages have gone up enough to keep up with what happened during the Biden era, you're not going to be a happy camper. But this year, those should begin to equalize. And the more Americans feel comfortable and confident that housing prices are coming down, their groceries are more affordable, in particular, healthcare prices are becoming more manageable, and the more they have confidence that there's a brighter future in front of us, the more the American people are going to embrace what Republicans have been able to accomplish. But the president's going to see on Tuesday is just look back a year. Imagine what the world looked like a year ago and compare it to where we are now. The kinds of issues we're debating at a whole different level. We're talking about how we're leading the world, not why the world's lapping us. We're no longer living in the shadow of China, watching them lap us in different areas. We're aggressively pursuing our success in energy, in the way we're envisioning the world, and the way it may look at AI, healthcare, and how it's evolved dramatically. We've used the power to convene to pull whole industries together and to get them to stop fighting amongst themselves and move forward so America remains the innovation engine of the entire planet. And I was with the president in Davos when he gave that great speech that for the first time European leaders had heard, where he basically said, listen, what we're doing in America is what you should be doing in your countries. We have charted a path that will lead us to prosperity. What's good for America is good for you. But even if you don't want to come along and let us lead you, at least do it for yourselves. And that's a bold stake in the ground. I think a lot of Americans should look up and say, yeah, nothing else. The president is treating us number one. He's taking care of the American people more than corporate interests, more than foreign entanglements, more than all this stuff. And even in foreign policy, which is not always the highest priority issue for the American people, you look around, you see peace breaking out everywhere.
Well, Dr. Mehmet Oz, thank you so much for everything you do for our country, and please thank the president for everything he does for our country. And we'll be listening on Tuesday night to see what else he has to say. Thank you so much.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our country has to offer, especially health care. Across every state, every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.